Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to talk about the February 2024 predictions for all zodiac signs. So I've also made videos for the yearly 2024 predictions for each zodiac sign too, so be sure to check those out as well. In terms of the predictions, it's important to look at the transits from the moon first, because all major events have an impact on our mind and emotions. Also, our thoughts, emotions and feelings can also influence external events that are promised in the natal chart. Things do not happen without it affecting the mind. After looking at transits from the moon, you can then look at transits from the ascendant to confirm any event, because houses, signs and planets have a diverse range of things they can represent. So we can look at all the clues in order to make accurate predictions. So the key transits happening in February are: on the 1st of February, Mercury will transit into Capricorn. On the 3rd of February, Jupiter will transit into Bharani Nakshatra. On the 5th of February, Mars will transit into Capricorn. On the 12th of February, Venus will transit into Capricorn. On the 13th of February, Sun will transit into Aquarius. And on the 20th of February, Mercury will transit into Aquarius. So I will now go through the predictions for Aries natives. The start of February should be good for you, with the Lord of your chart Mars moving into your 10th house in conjunction with Mercury and Sun. The Lord of the chart signifies your focus and direction, and the 10th house is where Mars is exalted, which means that it is extremely strong. So when Mars is exalted, it means that this month you'll be very results driven. So you can achieve whatever you put your mind to. Any responsibilities you hold, you will be able to fulfill them. In terms of your career, this can mean that you will feel very ambitious to pursue success. And Capricorn is a very structured sign, which means that you can develop a plan or set specific goals and stay disciplined and focused, making this month very good for your career and for fulfilling any other obligations in your life. If your goal is to change jobs, this month you can be successful in interviews, and if you are going through Mars Dasha, then it can be even better for you. Sun and Mercury will also be conjunct with Mars. Therefore, this will also be a great month for those who are self-employed, because both Mars and Sun are energies which like to assert their individuality and need autonomy and freedom to make independent decisions and to take action. They are not planets which want to work as a team. They want to be the leader and like to take control. So if your work requires a lot of teamwork, then there can be some conflict and disagreements with co-workers and bosses. So you will have to find a way to navigate through them. Jupiter will be transiting in Bharani Nakshatra, which is in the sign of Aries, which again shows a strong sense of independence. When Jupiter was in Ashwini, it meant that the energy was scattered, but now in Bharani, the energy is more channeled and committed, which means that your ideas, goals, or new beginnings can be finely tuned and start to take effect. So this can be a much better period for those who are after materialistic results. Jupiter in Bharani can also increase responsibilities in your life, in relation to marriage, children, and also home life responsibilities too. After the 13th of February, Sun will move into your 11th house and will be conjunct with Saturn, which can give mixed results. Here Sun is opposite its own house, which is Leo, in the uncomfortable realm of Aquarius, where it has to collaborate and depend on others. So this can be a difficult second half of the month with your friendship circle and any other social groups you belong to. This can be a time where you can find it difficult to stamp your authority or demonstrate your individuality, and can also be a time where your relationship with your father or your father's health may not be so good. For money and gains, all planetary energies in the 11th house are generally good. So Sun here means that you can earn through 5th house matters, which can include cashing in on any investments, and it can be a good month for earning through creative matters. For health, the Sun represents vitality and the body, and when it is conjunct with Saturn in the 11th house, it can cause minor issues such as pains in the lower part of the body, such as the legs and knees, especially if you are of a senior age. Sun also represents the heart, and when Sun and Saturn are together in the 11th house, it is not really good for 4th house matters. So the months of February and March, you will have to take care with any body part represented by the 4th house. If you are single, your 7th Lord Venus will be in the 10th house, which means that you can come across a person through work if this is supported by your natal chart. For Taurus natives, Venus is the lord of your chart and will be transiting the 8th house during the first few weeks of the month. Now, Taurus people generally value stability and they don't easily modify their minds, nor are they quick to make changes in their life. So either around the end of January or the first few weeks of February, it may be a period where you need to embrace some kind of change. So this can mean anything to do with changing your daily routine, or location change is possible. Going to a different country, city, or moving house is possible during this time. Embracing some kind of new values or ideas, or accepting some kind of transformation in your life is also possible. Remember, the result may not be physical, it could be psychological, and it could be very subtle. So overall, your mind can become more expansive and you may have to move out of your comfort zone. Jupiter is in the 12th house in the nakshatra of Bharani. So there could be some kind of life event that can force a change in the level of religious or philosophical beliefs. This can be dramatic or reflect modest changes in participation and commitment. This can mean that there are aspects of your belief system that you may no longer want to commit to. So this doesn't just mean religious beliefs, it can be any type of beliefs you hold. Bharani also represents beginnings and endings, so it can be a transformational nakshatra. Since this transit is happening in the 12th house, Jupiter in Bharani means that there can be something significant in your life that you need to let go of. Because the 12th house is an accumulation of all the other houses, so it could be related to anything from the previous 11 houses. Jupiter in Bharani can also take you on a journey of self-discovery, where you can examine all the areas of your life and letting go of negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and past experiences, which will help you grow as a person. After the 12th of February, Venus will move into your 9th house, in conjunction with Mars. So the whole month of February, travel and going on vacation is possible. The Lord of the chart in the 9th house is about experiencing something that will broaden you and bring about some kind of personal growth. For career, Saturn in the 10th house means that you can continue to work hard in your profession, putting in lots of effort, and you can make steady progress. After the 13th of February, Sun will join Saturn in the 10th house along with Mercury. Sun and Saturn are both planets which feel comfortable in this house because it is a house of profession, public image, and status. But Saturn and Sun do not feel comfortable with each other. So this can mean the months of February and March, you might have challenges with those that are senior to you or in leadership positions. For finances, Jupiter in the 12th house in Bharani means that you can spend money on things that bring you pleasure, because Bharani is ruled by Venus. You will spend money on things you find passion in, going on trips, education, luxuries, and things that will bring you joy. Here you can have expenses related to children as well. For Gemini natives, Mercury is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 8th house for the first few weeks of February. So Mercury is the most important planet in astrology because it governs our day-to-day life. It signifies how we communicate, think, and process information. which everybody does on a daily basis. Mercury will be conjunct with Sun and Mars, so there is a lot of energy in your 8th house, which means that this can be a time of deep thinking or changing how you think and process information. During this time, you can feel a little bit fearful or cautious about the future, so your sense of optimism can be low. Mercury, Sun, Mars in the 8th house with Ketu in the 4th house means that there can be changes in your home environment, changes in your feelings and emotions, and February is a month where you could be having minor healing or treatment of any health related issues. You could be having a small procedure or some kind of screening or checkup is also possible. The 8th house is a house which we are not in complete control of. It represents other people's or shared money and resources, inheritance. So when 3 planets including the Sun and Mars are transiting this house, it means that you will be trying to take responsibility or trying to control and make decisions on any joint resources you hold. Mercury in the 8th house can give a very investigative and researching mindset. So this can be a time you can expand your knowledge of occult sciences. After mid-month, Sun and Mercury will move into your 9th house and will be conjunct with Saturn. So Saturn and Mercury are friends, but Saturn and Sun are considered enemies. In the sign of Aquarius, Saturn and Mercury are strong. So anything related to the 3rd house or any significations of the Sun can suffer. Here your physical energy levels can be low, and you can lose your sense of individualism for the period, which if you are a fire or Sun dominated person, you can feel frustrated and challenged. This is a time you can also have difficult relationships with your leaders or bosses. So this can be a time where changes in your work is possible, job changes, responsibility changes within the same place you work, and you may have to work more collectively rather than independently. Overall, with Rahu in the 10th house, career can generally be good, although in the sign of Pisces, you can expect changes this year, because Rahu is not in a stable sign. Rahu will make you progress up the ladder in the same place or make you change companies to get to where you want to be. Jupiter in the 11th house in Bharani Nakshatra means it is better in terms of materialistic growth, but you may have to work twice as hard, so the next few months you could be putting in more energy and effort. For Cancer natives, Jupiter moving into Bharani Nakshatra will increase your responsibilities in your life and your career. Bharani is less dynamic than Ashwini. The energy is more stable, so from the month of February it will be a time where you can have clear roles and goals in your profession. This is a better time to find a little bit of stability in your work, and with Saturn in the 8th house, if you do have any fears or insecurities in your career, it is a time you will have to overcome them. With Sun, Mars and Mercury in your 7th house, the start of February is positive in terms of career, where you can receive recognition or growth in your profession. Here you may also change your job, which will also increase your gains. Since the sign of Capricorn is sitting in your 7th house, and with 3 planetary energies, Sun, Mars and Mercury transiting here, it means that if you are in a relationship or marriage, your partner could raise issues regarding responsibilities. So this month you may end up devoting a lot of your time towards your partner or marriage while losing a little bit of your self-identity. 7th Lord Saturn in the 8th house can show that your relationship or marriage can change or evolve, either because you might be having kids, spending some time apart, and you will be having conversations around money, goals, intimacy and values. The 7th Lord in the 8th house can also show that your spouse may be going through a lot of issues, so you may have the responsibility to provide support and care. After the 12th of February, Venus will shift into your 7th house in Capricorn and will be conjunct with Mars. So generally, wherever Venus is transiting, it's a time where things can be harmonious. but because it is conjunct with Mars, you will find yourself trying to balance your relationship and assert your own will at the same time. Mars is very controlled in the sign of Capricorn, and it signifies a goal-orientated approach to relationships this month. If you are single, Venus and Mars in the 7th house is a good time to connect with people and potentially find a matrimonial alliance. This is also a time you can get married too, and it can be a happy time because Jupiter is in the 10th house. However, because your 8th house has a lot of planetary energies the second half of the month, there can be issues regarding in-laws, values and money, which you may have to navigate through. Sun, Mercury and Saturn all conjunct in the 8th house means that in the second half of the month, your immunity can be weak and you can be susceptible to colds and infections. Here, your energy levels can also be a little bit low, so if you do feel fatigued, you should check your diet and lifestyle and seek the appropriate care. For Leo natives, Sun is the lord of your chart and will be transiting the 6th house the first few weeks of the month, and will also be conjunct with Mars and Mercury. So all three of these planets are considered good in the 6th house. Mars will be exalted, and Mercury, being the natural ruler of Virgo, is also comfortable in this house. So firstly, the 6th house is about working. So here your work and service activities can absorb a lot of your energy and make you a workaholic the first half of the month. You may also be spending a lot of your time overcoming any obstacles or problem solving in your work. Having Sun and Mars in this house can show difficult relationships with bosses and colleagues. So just like I mentioned in the 2024 predictions for Leo, this is a year you have to try and build good relationships with other people. Sun, Mars and Mercury in this house can also show you can be busy with life admin chores. But this can be an excellent time for organising your day-to-day life. The 6th house is also the house of health. So the sun is shining its light on your physical wellness. So you will be examining your body and inclined to look at how things are functioning and if they can be improved. So in particular, if you are of a senior age, you might be reviewing your daily routine and making any necessary changes to improve your well-being. After 13th of February, Sun will move into your 7th house and will be conjunct with Saturn. So the 7th house is Sun's natural debilitation position because its qualities like individualism and confidence are compromised, since the 7th house is about cooperation and harmony. So during these few weeks, you can lose a little bit of your self-identity. Now, because your Sun is in a weak position and conjunct with Saturn, your vitality and your mood could also be a bit low, and you can be susceptible to minor illnesses. So if you do feel like this, you have to check your diet and lifestyle and seek the appropriate care. Jupiter's transit in Bharani will help boost your creativity once Sun moves out of its debilitation position. If you are working in any self-expression field, you can find inspiration and new insights and experiences. This is a time you can have children. Bharani is a significator of bearing a child, and Jupiter represents children. So this is the perfect combination and position to have a baby. The 9th house represents prosperity. So Jupiter in Bharani can help you increase your wealth, or you will find new opportunities to expand your life. Purchasing a property is a possibility with Jupiter in Bharani and Saturn in the 7th house. For Virgo natives, Mercury is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 5th house at the start of February. Mercury will also be conjunct with Sun and Mars. So here a person can experience job changes and transformations in their career, where you might be doing work which is totally different to what you have done before. If you are career driven, Saturn in the 6th house may have been frustrating you the past 12 months. So this can be your time of change, either now or when Mars enters your 6th house in March. Having 3 planetary energies, including the Sun in the 5th house, is good for creativity, such as those that are involved with art and design. Mars is your third house lord in the fifth house, means that this is an excellent month for business too. Ketu in the first house means that other people around you may not understand you and can make you feel like you are lonely or find yourself being in solitude. So now Mercury and Sun in the fifth house can give you a strong drive in terms of what you want to achieve in the future, which means that this will be a period where you will think more about yourself. Mercury in the fifth house is really good for mental activities, such as those that can make you feel happy and more relaxed. Reading, socializing with friends, researching can enlarge your mind, and you can inadvertently educate yourself in ways that may later be useful. This is a time you may be engaged in activities that contribute to long-term goals. The fifth house is a house of fun and enjoyment, and when Capricorn sits here, it brings a more serious nature to this house. So this month, you need to balance seriousness with joy. After the 20th of February, Mercury will move into your 6th house along with the Sun and will be conjunct with Saturn. So Mercury and Saturn are good in this house, and to a certain extent so is the Sun. But because Sun is ruling your 12th house, which represents things that you have let go of or things that are hidden, so when Sun transits the 6th house, it can be a time where you may have to find solutions to deal with things from the past. So this can mean dealing with hidden enemies, obstacles, debts, health issues from the past. On a positive note, Mercury and Saturn conjunction in the 6th house can give you great intellectual precision. So it is a good time to do work that requires thought and planning. But it can also be a time you will proceed with caution, and you can also have a little bit of a pessimistic attitude. But remember, this is just a short phase. For relationships, Jupiter is in your 8th house and will be transiting the nakshatra of Bharani. So this is a time where any commitments you make in your relationship or marriage, you will be able to work hard to fulfill any promises or responsibilities. When Rahu is in the 7th house, there can be an obsession with a person where you can make unrealistic promises. So while Jupiter is in Bharani, things can go well, but after Jupiter moves again in May, things may become tricky again. So it is important not to make overcommitments that you will not be able to fulfill in the future. Jupiter in Bharani can also cause breakups. Bharani is a very fierce nakshatra and has the power to cleanse and remove impurities. So if you find yourself in a difficult relationship or with someone who is not right for you, you will be able to exit and get relief. Jupiter in Bharani is good for joint financial matters. So if you are settled and married, this can be a good time financially. For Libra natives, Venus is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 3rd house at the start of the month. The 3rd house is a house of your everyday surroundings and activities. So Venus's transit here will make your personality very gratifying and pleasant. Here your mood and motivation can be good, and there can be an ease of any discomfort. You will also be thinking about the future with wide perspectives, and this can be a good period to sit exams. Mars, Mercury and Sun will all be transiting your 4th house, which is ruled by the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn is the sign of your obligations and duties. So this means that you may have to take responsibilities in matters related to your home, real estate and mother. Since Mars is ruling your 7th house and transiting your 4th house, your subconscious mind can be filled with any relationship matters. You could be deeply thinking about a person, or your mind can be busy in trying to organize and plan for the future. Sun is ruling your 11th house, and Mars is ruling your 2nd house, which also means that there can be financial activity in relation to mother, or property, or your mind will be filled with long-term financial goals. After mid-month, Venus will move into your 4th house while the Sun will move into your 5th house in conjunction with Mercury and Saturn. So first of all, Venus in the 4th house is good for adding luxury to your home. So here you can buy new furniture or redecorate your house. Also, any property dealings can also flow smoothly, and it can also be a peaceful time at your home, either alone or with your family. Sun and Saturn conjunction in your 5th house can be a difficult conjunction. However, in the 5th house, the Sun is very comfortable because it is the natural house of Leo. Here the Sun will shine its light on your responsibilities, those that you feel you don't want to do, but those that you must do in order to fulfill your obligations. This could be work related, children related, or those related to your home life. Sun in the 5th house means that this can be a good month for business and earning money through creativity. Here you can also look into new ideas and new ways to make money. For relationships, Jupiter is in your 7th house and will move into the nakshatra of Bharani. So this can be a better position for the formation of long-lasting relationships. Here marriage can also take place. And if you are in an on and off relationship with a person, this is also a time where you or they can express their affection and make their feelings clear. This position can also make relationships end if there is no harmony or mutual benefit to each other. This can be a very busy period in terms of relationship, where you or they may have to take responsibility over any matters. Jupiter is also ruling your 6th house. So in Bharani Nakshatra, this combination is also better for materialistic gain, which means that you can find new work opportunities, which again will keep you very busy. For Scorpio natives, Mars is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 3rd house, where it will be exalted for the whole month of February. Capricorn is a sign where the energy of Mars flows really well, because here it gives Mars a realistic and purposeful direction to succeed and achieve any goals. In the 3rd house, Mars will be conjunct with Sun and Mercury, which are planets that are also good in the 3rd house. So you can expect this month to be good in terms of business and communication. Your communication can be very practical and realistic, but can also take a defiant tone. So if there is any written or verbal communication that you have been putting off related to anything, February is a good month to have that communication. This is a month your mind can be very active, which can be good for mental projects, networking, marketing if you happen to run a business, and also intellectual pursuits. This is a good month for studying and sitting exams. Now, the downside of having many planets transiting the 3rd house is that it can make it difficult for you to relax mentally, and you can find yourself having lots of ideas, choices and options. You can find yourself feeling restless in terms of work, money, health, location, so it's important to spend some time relaxing. After mid-month, Sun will transit into your 4th house, followed shortly by Mercury, and both of these planets will be conjunct with Saturn. So generally, none of these planetary energies are good for the 4th house matters. So you can find yourself with some obstacles in your home life. When Saturn is transiting the 4th house, it makes it very challenging to find happiness where you are living, or the people you are living with. So the transit of Sun and Mercury in this house means that you will be searching for that freedom to find happiness. Mercury is a very separative energy and curious energy and doesn't feel comfortable in this house. So this can also mean that you will be having very meaningful communication in terms of moving house or in terms of finding what makes you happy. Mars in the 3rd house also represents movement and short distance travel. So in the month of February, you could be spending a lot of your physical and mental energy and effort towards whatever goal you have. So for example, changing your place of location, moving house, traveling for work, communicating about something specific, or an increase in mental activity. In terms of work, Jupiter is transiting your 6th house and will move into Bharani Nakshatra at the start of February. So this should be very good for work related matters, where you can actually change your job, change your position. Bharani is very good for creating prosperity and wealth, and in the 6th house a person can do that through working. For relationships, Mars and Venus will be conjunct the second half of the month in your 3rd house, which means that you may be having conversations around money, intimacy, or simply about the future with your partner. For Sagittarius natives, Jupiter is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 5th house in Bharani Nakshatra. Venus will also be transiting your 1st house up until the 12th of February. So Bharani Nakshatra is to do with beginnings and endings, but unlike Ashwini, which can represent frequent changes, Bharani is about following through and preserving what you have already started with consistent effort and hard work to get the reward at the end. At the same time, if there is anything toxic or unwanted influencing your life, Bharani has the judgment qualities to cut off things or people, because it is ruled by Lord Yama, which is a deity of righteousness, balance and death. So for Sagittarius natives, the start of February, you will have a more determined and consistent attitude and approach to achieving your goals. You can be fearless to really go and get what you desire. And with Mars and Sun in your 2nd house at the start of February, you will feel a strong sense of confidence and self-worth. So for career, if you are in a job which you are not enjoying, or a job which will not give you the fair growth, this can be a time you can force any changes. So this could mean you could quit, because K2 is in your 10th house, which shows some dissatisfaction in your career. If you are in a job which you are happy with, or gives you growth, then this can be a time you can mentally transform yourself to be more responsible, and you will be able to take accountability and commit yourself to progress. The 2nd half of February, Sun will be transiting the 3rd house alongside Saturn and Mercury. So this can be a time you may have to make some important decisions. Both Sun and Saturn are good in the 3rd house, but because these two planets do not get along, information and communication can be difficult to process, and therefore decisions harder to make. Here you might have to make decisions on relationships, family, father, career, and this can also be a time you may have to take short distance travel. Jupiter is also ruling your 4th house, and with Rahu in the 4th house too, you'll be strongly thinking about what makes you happy. So there are strong chances of moving, buying property, or short distance travel. Jupiter in Bharani is about making choices and taking action, which will help you progress in your life. There is a strong aim in Bharani Nakshatra. In terms of romance, if you have been dating anyone recently or the past 12 months, this is a make or break period, where you can either end things and find someone else, or you'll be able to progress any connection. For Capricorn natives, Saturn is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 2nd house. Sun, Mars and Mercury will also be transiting your 1st house. So when there are multiple planetary energies transiting the 1st house, it means that your day-to-day feelings can change a lot. So for example, on the 1st of February you might feel happy and content, but then after a couple of days you might feel very down. So the first few weeks of February things can change from one day to the next. When the Sun is in the 1st house in Capricorn, you can feel overly self-conscious and obsessed about how other people view you. Sun in the first house means that the spotlight is on you, and it is not always for the good reasons. So for example, if you have committed a crime, you may be in court or at the police station answering questions. Or you might be having health issues. So this could be a time you have surgery, which again means that the spotlight is on you because there will be medical staff who will be looking out for you. And because this is in the sign of Capricorn, you will be extremely cautious in terms of your immediate environment. But essentially, you will be looking to take control of your life. Having 3 planets in the first house also means that you have to find some balance between you and your partner. You can be overly focused on yourself and looking after your own needs, and you may neglect your spouse or those that you have a relationship with. After the 13th of February, Sun will move into your second house and will be conjunct with Saturn. Sun will be shining its light on your relationship with your resources and things you value. So there will be important decisions that need to be made around relationships, marriage, money and property. Sun is about being in control and being the leader. So you can find it difficult to take control in matters related to the second house because of the influence of Saturn. Jupiter transiting the 4th house in Bharani will give Capricorn natives various results based on their dasha and natal chart. Jupiter is good in the 4th house and is also the natural ruler of the 12th house. So in Bharani Nakshatra, it will transform your life. Firstly, you may have to deal with isolation and loneliness. So this could be psychological or physical. You could find yourself away from your home, living somewhere else or in a foreign country. Jupiter in the 4th house in Bharani can also mean your subconscious mind will be reflecting on the past and everything that has happened to you, including anything that you have lost possibly in the past 18 months while Rahu was in your 4th house. And this can help you grow spiritually by understanding yourself, how you fit into this world, your dharma, and this is a time you can turn to God or religion. So a real transformational experience which can make you feel emotional, but you will have to carry any load, any regret and any experiences, and things will heal as time goes on. For Aquarius natives, Saturn is the lord of your chart and will be transiting your 1st house. So regardless of whether you are following transits from the moon or ascendant, the effect of Saturn in the 1st house is similar. Challenges in the immediate environment, lots of responsibilities to take, potential health issues. However, if you are following transits from the moon, you will feel the intensity much more. So in the first half of February, Sun, Mars and Mercury will be transiting your 12th house. And none of these planets feel that comfortable in the 12th house. But that doesn't mean they can't give any good results, but it's about how you control the energy. So for example, for relationships, Saturn is in your 1st house and aspecting the 7th house, which means that some of you may be having challenges of varying degree in your relationship. So when 7th Lord Sun is in the 12th house, it means that it's a time you need to serve your partner. Let them have their way, otherwise there can be bickering and arguments with each other. The 12th house is a memory house. It is the accumulation of everything that has happened. So having 3 planets transiting this house means that you will be reflecting on the past 18 to 24 months and evaluating your life, your behavior, and looking back to see how well or what mistakes you have done. And reflective practices of the 12th house is a way to grow spiritually because you are looking deep within yourself. After the 13th of February, Sun will transit into your 1st house and will be joined by Mercury shortly after. Both of these energies will be conjunct with Saturn. Aquarius is a humanitarian sign along with Pisces and the 12th house. So therefore the 6 planetary energies across your 2nd, 1st and 12th houses means that it will be a busy period where people are depending on you. When the Sun is shining its light on Saturn, it will remind you of the tasks, duties and responsibilities that you have not fulfilled yet. And because Sun is ruling your 7th house, any contractual agreements that need to be completed will also be highlighted during this time. Sun conjunct Saturn in the 1st house in Aquarius can show that you are not afraid to break the rules, because Aquarius is co-ruled by Rahu. So when Sun transits this sign and house, you can take some shortcuts to fulfill any obligations, or you could go against any legislations or laws that exist. So you do have to be a little bit careful here. Jupiter will be transiting your 3rd house in Bharani Nakshatra. And because Jupiter is ruling the 11th house, this transit will be better for materialistic gains. But it will also increase your responsibilities. So opportunities to increase your income is there in the coming months if you can handle more work. With Bharani Nakshatra, nothing comes easy. There can be hard and heavy labor required to get the result. For Pisces natives, Jupiter is the lord of your chart and will be transiting in Bharani Nakshatra in the 2nd house from the start of February. Bharani Nakshatra is to do with beginnings and endings, but unlike Ashwini, which can represent frequent changes, Bharani is about following through and preserving what you have already started, with consistent effort and hard work to get the reward at the end. At the same time, if there is anything toxic or unwanted influencing your life, Bharani has the judgment qualities to cut off things or people, because it is ruled by Lord Yama, which is a deity of righteousness, balance and death. So when Jupiter was in Ashwini, you may have found yourself moving around a lot. Possibly you may have changed your residence, your work. You may have been very outgoing and traveling, and you could have been enjoying your life because 11th Lord Saturn is in the 12th house. So now with Jupiter in Bharani, it will bring some stability in your life. You'll be very focused on what you need to do, your goals, and you'll be very determined in putting yourself in the right position to achieve them. So for example, you can be very focused on earning money during this period, and you will take your work responsibilities very seriously. Sun, Mars and Mercury will all be transiting the 11th house in Capricorn the 1st half of February, which again shows the capacity for responsibility and hard work. You will be very committed and disciplined, and it will be a productive start to the month for you. After the 13th of February, Sun will transit into your 12th house and will be conjunct with Saturn. Sun isn't ideal in the 12th house, and with Saturn here you may find yourself with health challenges, so there may be healing required. Rahu's transit in the 1st house almost certainly means that there will be certain medications, supplements, artificial drugs that you will have to put in your body. So around February and March this may happen. With Rahu in Pisces and 3 planets in your 12th house, you can find yourself either physically or mentally isolated. So if you do move to a new location, which is possible during this time, you may feel like you don't fit in. In terms of relationships, this can also be a time of endings. 7th Lord Mercury in the 12th house also shows that you may have to let go of people in your life, especially with Ketu in the 7th house. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below, or you can email me at exaltedmercury8@gmail.com, and I will see you next time. Thank you.